Good morning. It's Exeter with Bay. You're listening to the Social Impact Show with me, Samm Marshall. How you doing? How you feeling? Is it great? Are you good? Where are you going? Are you in the car? Are you walking? Are you in a mall? Are you listening to us via your handset? Are you at home? Anyway, we are so deeply grateful for you being in our company. We're in your company, and it's a mutual thing that we do on the Social Impact Show Mondays to Fridays. We are proudly South African. We are about building South Africa. And what we do on a daily basis is speak to inspirational South Africans who are doing amazing things to build brand South Africa. That's what we're all about. It's a good news show. There's no negativity here. There's no crime. There's no murder. There's no rape. It's all about building brand South Africa because, as Bulelani will agree with me, we have nowhere else to go. And that, before he says even good morning.
Good morning.
It's Bulelani Balabala, who's the founder of the Township Entrepreneurs Alliance, otherwise known acronym T. And on the line, we've got a winner, and we'll introduce him in a couple of seconds or so. It's Makatu Tshivhula, who's the founder of the Light Candles. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the Township Entrepreneurs Alliance kicked off 2025 with a bang. An inspirational Soweto Kasi Business Workshop at the historic Yetu venue under the theme Starting Strong, a Winning Mindset for 2025. The event empowered township entrepreneurs with expert masterclasses, a business exhibition, and a thrilling Kasi Business Pitch Challenge. Now, I don't know if you know, for people that know you, Bulelani, that you are absolutely obsessed with building local business. You are obsessed with you. I think you don't have sleepless nights because I think what you do is you're in a corner somewhere cooking all the time. You've got no social life. You've got no friends because this is the thing that you're obsessed with. Why are you so obsessed with building township economies, building township business, growing the next business, man, woman, child?
Thank you so much for having me on the platform, and good morning to all the listeners. So I think for me, when I look at my entrepreneurial journey, my journey started 19 years ago 20 years ago in my mother's garage. I was very young at the time. I think I was 15 at the time.
Yeah.
Just navigating, and really the drive then was to put bread on the table. But over the years, I guess as one grew, various businesses hustling and doing various things to getting to a point of stability, I think it then dawned on me that, these township entrepreneurs, every time I go to my hometown or I'm in my neighborhood, and my business operated in the township of Tembisa for a solid, 15 years. So you can imagine.
Can't be, you look 19.
That's the best. Oh my goodness. You guys heard. So, you sort of think of, the number of young entrepreneurs or local entrepreneurs would come and ask questions around how did you start? How could you afford to start and all this stuff? Then it dawned on me that the challenges that they faced with, I think to a great degree are not necessarily common. Right,
okay.
Or rather common challenges, but they don't have the solutions to. They don't have the access to the information. So I think out of that, we then started this initiative. So I think 9 years into my entrepreneurial journey, we started this initiative called T. And when we started, then it was to do two simple things, very simple things, was to get 20 or less small businesses that are youth-owned in the township of Tembisa, which is my hometown, to meet once a month with the purpose of sharing information and getting to do business with each other. That's it. On the first day, there was an overwhelming 161.
Wow.
Then we ran them as just basic meetup once a month.
Yeah.
But I guess because of that insatiable entrepreneurial hunger to want to solve problems. Now they're giving you problems, you want to learn, you want to solve. So over the past 10 years, I guess from inception in 2015 to date, we've been able to directly impact over 80,000 township entrepreneurs.
80,000?
80,000 plus township entrepreneurs.
What?
I guess the work we do, man, for the first 7 years was funded by the first 6 years was funded by my manufacturing business. So I ran a manufacturing business that I sold 3 years ago. And this then became the the deep work.
Yeah.
Now I think what we're doing
This
is
became your mission in life.
This then became, yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, I love that. So this then became my deep mission in life. I mean, and I think in this journey you meet amazing entrepreneur, like an entrepreneur we'll be chatting to later on, who's doing tremendously well, but disruptive, you know, in a space and with a product that is seen as no, it's for certain people of a certain age, or just live with.
I'm
this
glad
for
you didn't say
ages.
boring.
Yeah, so definitely not, because, you know, for me, it's a product that talks to people navigating their lives, searching for their consistent whys. But I think for me, the big driver is really the big driver now, and I think you sort of touched on it correctly when you said the social life is
non-existent.
Yeah, the social life has definitely suffered. But I guess, you know, the great reward is to be able to stand, you know, a mile away and say, I know that entrepreneur is doing well. We played 2% or 1% role, because it's never us, because it's really their big drive and ambition that's really going to separate them from all the others. Our job is to say...
But you need community, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what T provides. You need community. Because the entrepreneurship journey is a very different journey.
No, it is. I mean, I think for the longest, I remember coming up, we'd always talk about, or rather, I'd always talk about how lonely it is and the sort. But over the years, you know, with building a community and a tribe, you now find that, yes, there are things that you need to deal with one-on-one that impact you. However, it doesn't have to be as lonely. It doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be lonely, but it doesn't have to be as lonely. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your community and tribe are always going to have solutions. But it's a community of tribe of individuals that you are able to tap into. And I think I remember when I started tapping into community, it was almost by chance, you know, sharing my big challenge is the biggest challenge in the world. And this gentleman from across the room looked at me and said, my man, I always saw as a billion. Your problem is very small, but I'm smiling. You know, you don't see it worn on my head. So let's talk about how you navigate.
You know, the first time I came and I came to understand the power of the township economy was, I don't know if you know this book, I'm sure you do. Gigi Alcock wrote a book called Casinomics, right? I interviewed him in my previous job, and I read this book, and he talks about this this lady who sells 1 million single Pampers nappies in the book. And he talks about the funeral service within the Kasi business. He talks about this guy who has who sells so many quotas that when he went to go and buy a 4x4, he took a bag of money. And he had to explain to the guys when he bought the 4x4 what a quota is, and because they didn't understand it. And that's when I really got to understand the power of township entrepreneurship, right? That it's live, it's vibrant. And then we don't forget people that were innovators right at the beginning, like Bishop Maponya. You know, who built Maponya Mall. When nobody else thought that a mall at that scale and size would thrive in an economy like Soweto. And I kind of feel that you're on the same journey, that you're kind of venturing into spaces that makes other people uncomfortable, because you have to now, I think you're forcing everybody around the table to elevate their thinking around the township, the quality of people, the quality of entrepreneurship, because these are smart people that you're dealing with within the T environment. Just because you're based in a township versus a Sandton doesn't mean you're less entrepreneurial, you're less business savvy. And I think you kind of force that conversation.
And I love that you put it that way, right? I think first and foremost, these entrepreneurs are geniuses. I mean, when you look at that resilience, and I think I equate the resilience of these entrepreneurs, if they were operating in a different economic environment that was conducive, they'd be making hundreds of millions, in my view, because others in other spaces in first world countries have done more with less, with just an idea, not even an MVP, right? But these guys have got skin in the game, you know, because they understand the essence of, if I don't do it, I'm going to pick up problems in my life, or it won't move if I don't move at the end of the day. But we need to continue to force that conversation. It's not just having the conversation, it's forcing it. And I think for me, that's important, because if you don't, then it's going to always remain tick box exercises. That is why in the whatever corporates we work with, there's an agenda that we want to push. And that agenda is the agenda of impacting people in the right manner, not the agenda of ticking boxes. Whenever we tick boxes, then we need to part ways or just reassess how we navigate that relationship. So it then says that we then do not work with these entrepreneurs as little kids or babies. No, they are enabled.
That's condescending
it's
and rude.
Condescending.
And rude.
No, it's condescending. So for me, these entrepreneurs are well abled. They are smart. So if they are giving their time to attend a tea workshop or event, they are not coming there because their baby is going to be babied, but they are coming there because they see value in being there. So equally so, whatever corporates and stakeholders we work with, we say, come there with respect, come there with equitable time, come there and show up 100%, because when you do that, when you change your posture,
be authentic when you rock up.
Exactly, because when you change your posture and you're authentic, like you're saying, then you find that now you are met at the level, not at the level of
and
saying,
you're not talking down to anybody.
You're not talking down to anyone. You are met at the level of these entrepreneurs. My last point here, I love that you mentioned Dr. Maponya. Quite an interesting thing for me is, and that is why we do the work that we do with tea, as well as to highlight these amazing stories. Saying to one entrepreneur who runs a business in the last mile delivery space in the township, to saying, we're not doing anything new. The biggest challenge is that we were told, or we thought that there are no references. And those stories aren't being documented well, and we need to unearth those stories. So I'm saying what you are doing now is no different from what Dr. Maponya was doing years ago, because in his early entrepreneurial journey, he had 100 milk guys going out in Soweto to deliver milk bikes. I didn't even know that. There was no GPS system to track. There was no logistics to track. How were they managing their cash flow and their money? How did you know that the guy delivered what he said he was going to deliver? What did he do when the bike was involved in an accident or had a flat tire from a breakdown perspective? So he found a way of navigating. So 20 years later, 30 years later, it's now called last mile delivery, but we've always been doing it. So I think really for me is to say, whether you're from Recha Park, whether you're from Eldos or Tembisa, Kailicha, understand who are the game players, who are the game changers that were operating in this space, and then do the deep work of understanding what were they doing. You will find that innovation that you want to innovate has already been done. All you need to do sometimes is add tech capabilities to it and take it to market.
Before we have a chat to Makatu, who's on the line. Good morning, Makatu. I just want Bulelani to set the scene of this competition, and I just want to let you know, I don't want to out you in a bad way, Makatu, but I know you're sitting with 50,000 rand in your pocket, man. So I don't want to alert your neighbors and your family members. I don't know if you've done the work to tell them that you're sitting with 50,000 rand, but just quickly set the scene in terms of the competition, because he ultimately was the winner.
Yeah, no, definitely. So so we've got something we call the Kasi Pitching Challenge. Whichever township we go to or rural community we go to, we host it as part of that workshop on that specific day. But however, there's a pre-selection criteria. You have to be based and operating in the township. You have to be I guess all of them are BE level 1. You have to have your compliance documents, but basic compliance documents. Be registered with CIPC, and then I think the second one, you must be operating for 2 years plus, nothing less than that. And then I guess out of that, we've got a team that independent team that adjudicates, and that's how he was selected to be one of the finalists. And there were 5 other finalists on the particular day. So on the day we have 6 finalists that pitch. On the day as well, we've got judges that are set up on the day to listen to the various pitches that are pre-scored. But also what we do to make it competitive, we also then share with the entrepreneurs when we invite them what the judges will be listening out to and for. And then they get to...
So they don't make the basic mistakes.
So that they don't make the basic mistakes.
And
so
get penalized for it,
so we give scope to make it extremely competitive, right? And then over and above that, on the day, the judges' scores are tallied and the winners announced. And the winner gets to walk away with 50,000 rand. That 50,000 rand is a composition of 50% of it is cash. So, and then the 50% is going to be business support.
Which they need.
That we're going to be giving to him. But also equally, he then forms part of our alumni community of entrepreneurs. So this support doesn't stop here. And what that then looks like to us is we are then able to then aggregate for opportunities with large corporates and say, you're looking for a pool, don't select from the mass pool, select from the pool of alumni.
They've already been curated, they've already been
pre-vetted. You know? But the business, you guys will hear it yourself when he speaks. Beautiful, disruptive, Uncommon, but very common. It's a beautiful
I like that.
business.
Makatu, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Bulelani. Good morning to the listeners. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been described as being common, uncommon, disruptive. In your words, what is your business?
My business is basically candles. By the mere words, it's candles, which we manufacture from the heart of Soweto in Pimville Zone 3. And we just distribute to a niche market of traditional healers, churches, and spiritual people that use candles every day for their spiritual practices.
Oh, so you're talking about those big, beautiful candles, right?
It's not only limited to that. Funny enough, it's actually the most famous packets that we sell is the household fluted candles, which are the ones that you find at your retailer. You see by the candle aisle, the ones that come in a pack of 6. That's our number one product. But we do have the big ones, the pillar candles, scented candles, and the likes.
So you know what? When I saw this candle thing, I was like, okay, I get a sense of why candles are a thing. I mean, we use it for, romantic evenings with flowers in the water. And, when you want to do romantic dinners and stuff. And then I understand candles from a kind of ceremonial passing on perspective. I get the church stuff. But a lot of stuff that I read was that the candle business is such a tough and competitive space. How have you been able to kind of elevate your business above the noise? Because there's so many candle makers.
That's a good question, and I think it's something I struggled with in the beginning of my business, and it all goes down to finding your niche market. So I identified my niche market, and I set out from get-go that this is the niche market that I want to target, and it will gradually grow into tapping into other markets. So that particular niche market for me was the spiritual and African traditional side. And throughout the years, we then went into other markets such as corporate gifting. If I'm to mention one or two companies.
Oh, please do.
We've worked with the SAB Foundation, and we've also worked with the RMB Bank. We've given them candles to give to their stakeholders.
Wow. What do you think it is about your pitch that was the winning pitch? Because I can only imagine, or maybe let me ask Bulelani before I ask you. What was it about his pitch that was just blew the judges away?
I think from the conversation I had with the judges, there's a couple of things, right? Number one, clearly articulate on what they are doing. That's the first one. Number two, and a keen understanding of who his customer is. Because you ask a lot of entrepreneurs who are pitching, who's your customer? Everyone's my customer. So he's then been very clear on who his customer is, very specific, but also equally, that's also then communicated on his social media account. Okay. When you go on the social media account, you can quickly
So you guys even analyze that too?
Yeah. So
wow.
And that's the type of stuff that I look at. So when you go on his social media account, you can already pick out what the person's niche actually is, right? And then I think for me, over and above that was the clear breakdown in terms of the type of business that they actually run, but also the demonstrated capacity and capability in and around the fact that they actually manufacture the product themselves. Wow. It talks to a number of notes. I mean, his business touches on, number one, on direct retail. It also then touches on manufacturing, which is black industrialism in and itself. So it then is a business that has the potential of creating jobs at mass and at scale in the heart of that community and township.
Wow, I love that. So Bulelani says it's all those things. You obviously were nervous, right, when you were pitching?
Yeah, definitely. It's nerve-wracking being on stage.
And what do you and for those that don't know, I mean, what do you think it was finally that just took it over the mark? Is it the fact that as Bulelani saying, you're black industrialist?
I think, as he said it was a combination of that, but a combination of all that he said, and I do agree with that, particularly for the fact that I manufacture and I know who my customers are, and I gave a clear outline of how we reach the customers, what business I'm in actually, and just the story around it.
Okay, as we wrap up, I'm going to give you an opportunity for 30 seconds to tell our couple of 100,000 listeners about your business and get them excited about the light candles. It's called the light candles, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so where can they get hold of you and how can they engage with your business?
Alright, so they can get a hold of me we have a physical shop in the heart of Soweto in Pimville Zone 3. On GPS, it's just putting in the light candles and it'll bring you straight to the door. We also do supply a spa in Deep Kloof. We supply a superstore in Soweto in Dlamini. And you can also find us online through our social media platforms, which is Light Candles ZA on Instagram. On Facebook, it's the Light Candles. On Twitter, X, it's Light Candles ZA. TikTok, the Light Candles. And on our WhatsApp is 079 320 4106. I'll repeat that. It's 079 320 4106. We courier nationwide, and yeah, if you missed any of the information, just a simple Google search of the Light Candles and all our information will come up.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us. What a great conversation, Bulelani. Thank you for coming into studio. This is what we're all about. We want to highlight, we want to invite you back to just come and talk about tea, separate to all the other stuff. But what a great project you're running, initiative, the impact. Over 80,000 businesses. Wrap your head around that. I mean, over 80,000. Yeah. That is remarkable. That's Bulelani Balabala, who's the founder of T. It's the Township Entrepreneurship Alliance, Entrepreneurs Alliance. And they had an amazing Kasi Business Workshop. And the winner was the founder of the light candles, Makatu Tshivhula, who took away 50,000 Rand in terms of 25,000 Rand as a cash prize and 25,000 Rand in support services. Bulelani, for people that are listening to this interview, where can they get hold of you?
Anyone who's listening to this interview is interested in finding out more about who we are as T. On every single social media platform, you can just simply click on the hashtag Join Us for Tea. You'll get info. The second thing you could do is just drop us an email, info@joinusfortea.co.za. So I'll repeat that, info@joinusfortea.co.za, and that's equally also our website. You'll find us. You'll get quick info. The lady who mans that is Jackie and Chantal. They do an amazing job. Get in touch with us. Let's talk.
Samm Marshall.